Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Laila with episode 2 of Meeting You There. And today my guest is Kelly Larson. And before I hit record on my computer, we spent quite a bit of time laughing and catching up. So it has been a wonderful conversation already so far. And we are happy to be having some conversation today about relationship. The value that we are talking about today is we value relationships. And this one is the first on the list for a good reason, I think. It reads this way: we value relationships. God has created us for connection. We value relationships with one another, with the larger church body, with partner organizations, and with creation itself. I first was connected with Kelly Larson back when I first started at Shepherd of the Lake and wanted to have some sort of body prayer, mind, body, spirit type spiritual experience for folks, and was talking with some folks in the office and said, I want to do this stretch and pray yoga type class at Shepherd of the Lake. And they said, you have to connect with Kelly Larson. She's a member. She does all sorts of great stuff with us and for us. And she owns this yoga studio in Savage. And I said, all right, hook me up. So I remember Kelly, our first conversation just lasted for, I don't know how long, but it was a while.
Half a day.
Half a day. And it just was soul filling. So thank you for that. And thank you for all of the ways that you've shown up for and with Shepherd of the Lake and this Southwest Metro community in the world. And
it's been my pleasure, honestly. It fills me up just as much as hopefully it fills others. So it makes me happy.
Yeah. It's great when it works that way, right? And it's a relational thing. So what a great segue. So thank you for being here to talk about relationships today. And well, actually, thank you for being there. I am here. We're meeting you there, which is the title of the series. And you're in a beautiful outdoor space, and we might hear some birds with us today. So
might hear a kitty here and there too.
A kitty?
Yeah.
I love the kitties. So, Kelly, tell us about a time when you felt deeply connected to another person during this time. We value relationships, and God has created us for connection. And so tell us about a time when you felt that connection.
Absolutely. So as you and I were talking right before you started recording, one of the things I've noticed that I'm really missing throughout this pandemic is relationships with, obviously my family is still here, so I'm spending time with them, so I'm not missing that per se, but with others, with my friends and with my acquaintances, I am so I guess not surprised, but how powerful those connections can be, because I didn't realize how much I would miss that during this time. So there's been a few times throughout this last crazy few months where I've really felt that connection, and I've been so grateful because it has sustained me, and that's what I've needed to get through. A couple times specifically that I'm thinking of, and one was right after we kind of got into this whole thing, and the realization started hitting that we were going to be staying home for a while and not seeing our friends, not seeing our business associates, not seeing our acquaintances, and that hit me really hard because I'm a social person. I like being around people. I draw energy from being around people, and I love to hug people. And right now that's kind of an act of terrorism, which makes me so sad. But I really had a hard time with that. And I almost went into a little mini depression for a little while because I sat with that and I thought, I don't know if I can be alone. And so I was talking to one of my friends, and she put together a Zoom meeting because she could tell I was really having a hard time. And I got together on Zoom with 8 of my closest friends. And we just lifted each other up. We just connected. We just shared. We just talked about who we are and talked about how we're connected. And it changed my whole, it flipped a switch in me, and it changed the whole way that I moved forward. I really was going down a bad road for a little while, and I thought I could lift myself out of it, and I couldn't do it. It took other people to lift me up and to connect with me, and that filled me up. That moment, it basically just changed how I move forward in this pandemic. And without them, I don't know if I would have done it on my own. And you always think, I can lift myself up. I can do it. It's up to me. I have the power within me. And yet when it came down to it, I needed other people. And that moment, my heart was full, and I just felt like I can do this with my friends, with my family. We can all get through this together. And that was really kind of again, I felt like for so long, I thought I can do this by myself, and I really can't. It takes a community. We say it takes a community to raise kids. It takes a community for us to survive. Being alone is just it's not viable for anyone, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
So what shifted, what felt like it shifted within you from before you had that Zoom call to after you had that Zoom call?
I think I just realized how much support and how much connection I do have with others. There are a lot of times, even when you're in normal day-to-day life, what we're calling normal before pre-pandemic life, let's call it, I think you have these relationships, and you're so busy, you get sucked up in the day-to-day, and you don't really stop and pay attention to those relationships. And when we were within the pandemic and we were stopped, basically, I started getting stuck in my own little bubble. Like, I'm in my own little world, and everything just kind of started to crumble. And when I reconnected with those people, I realized I have this amazing support network that I can actually use to lean on. Like, I never really leaned on like I did in that conversation. I've never really leaned on my friends as much as I have in that conversation. And that really made me realize that if I do fall down, I have that support to help lift me up. I don't have to do it by myself. And I really do think, God put those people there in my life for a reason. And now I'm going to start crying. And that's so important. It's such a gift. And I don't think we take advantage of that enough. We get so sucked into our day-to-day. And so this is an opportunity to stop and appreciate those people that are in our lives and why they're there, and to support each other through it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have just recently, during the pandemic, I had a lovely Zoom call with 5 of my closest friends who are just scattered around the country. And we had this moment where we were like, this is the first time that we had gotten together on Zoom, and it was so like soul filling for us to connect that way, or just at all. And we had this moment where we're like, oh wait, this connection was available to us before the pandemic. We just didn't seek it out. Right.
Yep.
So there's something about this time that is making us really acutely aware of the importance of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually got together last night with our Stretch and Pray, kind of the core group who comes typically. We got together in a park and had a little dinner together, and just spending that time again, as you said before, and it's just so soul filling. It's heart filling. It just makes you appreciate that you're not in this alone. And I think when we're in these situations right now, like with this pandemic, where we're isolated, and we may be isolated with family, which is a huge blessing, or we may be isolated alone, that isolation can be so hard to move through and to stay positive through. You can function through it, but that doesn't mean that you're staying happy or staying positive through it. And I think when you find those connections, those opportunities to really connect with someone else's soul, and Zoom is fantastic to do that, but in person, in my opinion, is even better. Mm-hmm. So when you can find a way to do that, and you feel a lightness, you feel it. There's a physical. It feels different when you can connect with someone. You feel lighter, you feel happier, more joyful. And last night when we were chatting, it's just, you walk away feeling so much lighter and brighter than when you started the conversation. And that's that's what's getting me through all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I've found that I'm even engaging people who in like the service industry, like if I'm checking out at Quick Trip, which is where I do almost all of my grocery shopping.
Do you feel like you want to be like, how are you?
I
Thank
know.
you so much for being here.
Right. I know.
I do. I feel like
cracking jokes.
I know. I think I've tipped every barista that has served me in the last, which I did here and there before, but I'm so grateful for all the people. I'm just grateful every time I have any kind of connection with people especially in the actual in-person sense. I am so grateful for that. And you see them, you see those people now that you maybe didn't see before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. The people who you encountered but didn't really truly see.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just one of the hidden gifts of this time where we're starved for human connection, is that we realize that we actually are in relationship with everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you notice too that we end up having more conversations about just the people themselves? I was noticing last night. I mean, I know these ladies that I've been doing yoga with and stretching and praying with for, some of them a couple years. And I learned things about them last night that I never knew. And I thought, this is what a cool opportunity to actually get to know the people, because I'm not sitting here going, oh, what's next on my to-do list? Where do I have to go next? And, oh, I got to make sure I get that thing done tonight and cross this off my list. I'm just in the moment. I am with the people. I am connecting in a way that I never did before.
Yeah.
So that was a real kind of eye opener for me as well. And I am so grateful for that. And I hope that that's something that I can take forward. And I talk about it all the time, obviously in yoga, about being present, but not everybody lives it every second. And I hope that that's something I can take forward out of this, is to remember that to not worry about the next thing on the list, really be in the moment and connect with those people, because that is God's gift, and that is what's going to keep us moving forward, and that is what we're made for. We're not made to be alone. So that's more important than anything on your to-do list, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful. I mean, we were created, God has created us for connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to tend to those relationships, even with strangers, has been a gift.
I have to say too, there were, again, I mean, throughout this whole thing, there are times where, as you know, I have a yoga studio, and we struggled because we didn't qualify for aid, and we were trying to figure out, how do we move forward with this? What do we do? And I had a time there too. My partner and I were, we just thought, I don't know what to do. We were so down. We were just struggling. And you never know where help's going to come from. And that's one thing I think I've gotten out of this too, is you just have to always have hope, because there are people there that are with you and there to support you. We did a GoFundMe to raise money, and we had no idea. We thought, let's just see what we can do. And we were just awestruck by the support we received. And it came, I mean, we knew we'd have some support, but we could not believe the amount of support. And it came at a time where we were just at our lowest, and we just didn't know if we were going to be able to move forward. And that support, not just the financial support, which was amazing, but the words of encouragement, the letters, the notes, the calls, we couldn't believe the outpouring of love. And that was exactly what we needed. And that came at a time where we were just about done, and it lifted us up, and it gave us the energy and the motivation to move forward. And again, it came out of nowhere. So that was something it reminded me that you just never know when you're at your lowest point. You just never know where that helping hand is going to come from, but it's there. So just hold out and it'll come. It does every time.
Mm-hmm. So I find it interesting you say it came out of nowhere. And yet it came when you asked for help.
Yep.
It came when you said, hey, we need help, and we need to lean on our community, and we need to lean on our relationships. And, and the strength of those relationships showed up in the form of prayers and calls and dollars that are allowing you to continue to do what you're doing, and that you get this beautiful gift of financial support, but also a realization, or I don't know what the right word is, but just this gift of knowing really how valuable this service that you're providing, this community that you're creating, is to people.
That's exactly what it is. That was the overarching message that we got from everyone, is how valuable the community is to them. And so for us, that was the true gift. And I thought it was interesting. I noticed you had sent me a note, I don't know if it was on Facebook, but said, I'm glad you finally reached out for help. And it's so funny because we put off posting that GoFundMe for so long because we thought we can do this by ourselves. We can do this. We can make this happen. And we kind of we realized eventually we can't. And so then we were just like, oh, do we just stop? Do we give up? What do we do? And then we said, no, let's just do this. And it was so hard. It's so hard for us in the society, I think, to reach out for help. We have this idea that we should be able to do it by ourselves. And we're kind of made to think that, I think, with a lot of with our culture, we're made to think we should be able to do it by ourselves, but we really can't. And it's when we reach out for help that we find it's there for us, but we are so scared to do that, I think. And that's happened to me multiple times throughout this last 3 months, where finally I've just gotten to a point where I've had to reach out, and then I kick myself for not doing it sooner.
Yeah. It's so hard, though. It is the hardest 3 little words to say, right? People say the hardest 3 little words to say is I love you. It's not true. The hardest 3 little words to say is I need help. Or we need help.
I think nobody wants to say they need help. And it's so funny because why? Why do we feel this need to be so self-sufficient when we're not? We're not made to be that way. And think about how many times you help other people around you and you love doing it. It makes you feel good. Yeah. So why do we not want to ask for that help when we need it? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. And so again, another learning from this is it's okay. It's okay to ask for help, and people like to give it. People want to help. Yeah. So take advantage of that, because you will do the same moving forward. I mean, I know I'm going to help whenever somebody asks. I will do whatever I need to do to help those people. So why not do the same thing when you need it?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've said a million times that, church works because we're not all doubting on the same day. Church works because we're not all hurting in the same way on the same day. Church works because we're not all broken in the same places at the same time. I think that's true for society in general. And this is a tough time because we are all experiencing difficulty at the same time. And we are all wired at the same time. We are all wired with our own unique set of gifts and abilities, and we can still reach out and help each other. And sometimes the absolute best gift that I can get when I am just wrapped up in my own, what's a word that Dave's not going to have to edit out? Stuff. When I'm mired in in despair, really, which I think is a pretty fair response some days, right? Yes. It's a human thing.
Yeah.
The absolute best thing that can happen to me is for somebody to call me and say, I need you. I need your help. I need to talk, right? So that I can reconnect with that person. And
when you feel like you're needed, that's hugely important. And when you need someone and you feel like there's someone there, I can't even, it's so hard to even put into words what that does for you. But I mean, helping others, that's always been something that I have loved to do. And I know how it makes me feel. And so why I have been so averse to asking for help is a mystery, because I know how it makes me feel to help others. And yet I've never wanted to reach out. I've always felt like I have to do this. And it's so funny because I always talk about, and I truly believe, community is so important. I mean, that's what we built the yoga studio around, is we wanted to create a community where people felt comfortable and people felt supported and people felt lifted up. So it's not just about stretching your body. It's so much more than that. And yet when it came to me actually having to reach out and need help, I didn't want to do it. And it's so crazy because as soon as I did, everything opened up for me. Like everything just changed direction in a positive way. And it made me just realize this is dumb. Why am I not taking advantage of my community that I built around me to help me move forward? Because when I can be lifted up in that way, I'm going to give back even more to my community. So we're all kind of taking each other to the next level when we do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all become our best selves when we lift each other up by being connected in that way. We become better versions of ourselves. And that's kind of what we're all trying to do, right? Become the best version of ourselves, become the version God wanted us to be.
Yeah. Yeah. We are in process. And I think we're being ushered into that, right? That's a couple episodes away. So a little teaser trailer. What do you call that? Anyway, we'll be talking about transformation in a little while, a couple more episodes, but yeah, it's all connected. And we're all in process. And I have a sneaking suspicion that the reason that it's difficult for us to ask for help sometimes is because we're human. Mm-hmm. Right? It's a human thing. And so to just recognize, like, this is hard. It's a hard thing and we can do hard things. And it is a hard thing to ask for help. And I know there are probably some people listening who are maybe feeling like they need some help, maybe mm-hmm. feeling isolated, or feeling like they don't have people to reach out to, relationships to help them sustain them through this time. And I want to extend a sincere invitation to all the people who are listening, who may be in that spot, to reach out to your church community. Reach out to us, email us, mm-hmm. call us, and let us know that you could use a conversation or some prayer or any kind of support. Sometimes when I'm in that spot where I just feel totally alone and lonely and despairing, and I can't even access like who I might call, right? Or like how I might get out of that. And I'll finally just like text a friend and just say, I need help. And they'll say, what do you need help with? And I'll just say, I don't even know. Right. I just need to connect somehow. And sometimes it's in that connection, then in that relationship where there's a new, just a glimmer of hope that blossoms, or a little bit of enough energy or enough clarity to take the next footfall, the next step, and to keep moving.
I will even say I have had those moments in the last few months where I haven't even reached out, but I've given, the ego is, I think, the part of us that keeps us from wanting to reach out. And when we let go of that ego, that part that keeps us separate, that's really what the ego does. It keeps us separate from others. When you let go of that and you finally say, okay, God, I need help somehow, please. It's amazing what happens. Someone reaches out to you, someone calls you, someone emails you, some connection happens. And that's happened to me more than once over this last few months too, where I've just had those days where I'm like, why am I so down? And I let go of it and I say, I need help. I need I don't know what I need right now, but I need help. And someone will reach out to me, invariable every time, and say, hey, I just was thinking about you today, or hey, do you want to go do something social distanced today? Or do you want to, I don't know, do something? And every single time, I mean, Jen and I have talked about that at the studio too. We have days where we just like, we're falling down and we're just ready to give up. And then we get an email or we get a card or we get a phone call that says, you have no idea how you've affected my life. And I mean, it's just, it comes the day that we're having those struggles. It's amazing how when you just put it out there, like, I'm struggling, what can come your way?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of God. Oh yeah, God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, prayer. Oh yeah, relationship with God. Yeah, and God has already put us in relationship with God. And there's nothing we can do to not be in relationship with God. It's just being aware of that, remembering that, and just saying help.
Do you ever wonder if God's ever up there sometimes saying, okay, I gave you all these support tools, now reach out. Take advantage of them, please.
Yeah. Or I'm here. I love you. And I'm like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, I hear something.
I was like, what is that? So, all right. For everybody who is listening, my prayer for you is that you can feel God's presence with you, and that you can ask for help when you need it, and that you can remember that you are loved and cherished, and that God loves you, and we do too. And we're here for you. We're here for you. We're going to get through this together. It's the only way we can do it. And I'm incredibly grateful, Kelly, for your time today, and for sharing so vulnerably and honestly with us, and for just, all that you do for this community. Thank you.
I feel very blessed to be part of this community. It has lifted me up more times than you know. So I'm happy to help in any way I can. And if anybody ever wants to talk, I am happily available anytime. That lifts me up as much as it lifts up whoever I'm talking with. So connection is so important. And I'm so grateful that you asked me to talk on this topic, because I truly believe that we are made to be together, and we are all part of one body. So the better we can help, the more we can help those around us, the better we lift ourselves up, and we are all becoming, as we said earlier, the best version of ourselves. And it's important.
Yeah, we are all part of one body. That's biblical. So thank you, Kelly, for reminding me today of God and the Bible.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.